This is a HeadGum podcast.
Gather round! I like that! Yeah!
Yes!
Mess around!
That's what I'm talking about.
Uh-huh!
All night. Look at that.
They messing around.
Hey.
Hola.
Hola.
Hey. I'm been trying to master the art of lighting since we've
You're not
started this
doing
podcast.
great because you're wearing real glasses right now, which is kind of like the biggest faux pas.
I know.
I can see everything in the reflection.
I just,
Look,
when I'm tired, I put
Academic?
on glasses.
oh,
So
you're
you don't
always tired
see how
'cause you're a working actor and a dad.
I know. People don't get it. People understand me. They don't understand. I wish they did. The trauma and the pain that we have suffered in this business, it goes right to the face.
Just to your eyeballs, to the
Yes.
cataracts.
Yes. this
You
glaucoma.
You carry it in the glaucoma. Well, today, 420, par
That's right.
5, we an episode you wrote,
Yes, indeed. Par 5.
Mr. Rob Reiner. And man, I was thinking about this because before we dive into the episode, I want to talk about our beloved Rob Reiner,
Oh, yeah.
AKA Bobby Day.
Mm-hmm.
I read something about him, an interview he did talking about All in the Family, when he realized that show was going to go on for a really long time, that it was a hit, that he decided to use the show as a masterclass. And he hung out in the edit suites and he sat down and made sure with the writing, he saw everything and directing. And he kind of just used it as like this like living laboratory of like how to become involved in all the aspects of storytelling. And I just find it fitting that the episode that we're doing today is written by you, because that's something that would have made him feel so happy to know that an actor sat there and took the opportunity to kind of further themselves and to write, and not only to write, but to write about something that was relevant at the time and still now and before, and to blend something that important with humor, to use the opportunity that we're given to have a show like this and a platform like this to do something powerful, and to do it in a way that really connects with people. And I just feel like he would have loved that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Even his character on All in the Family was a very, liberal kind of, he would protest things on the show. He was very an outspoken individual. And his character would contrast with his dad's, Archie, his dad's point of view.
His father-in-law's point of view.
Yeah, father-in-law's point of view. Yeah, so they would always butt heads a lot. And what's funny about it is the thing he would call him on the show is he would call Rob a meathead. He's like, yeah, shut up, you meathead, and that was like the thing. You call him a meathead. And I remember, and I grew up watching All in the Family, and I remember my like when first day working with him, maybe one of the first days, but it was a moment that we had a little bit together. I was eating cake or something like that, and he's like, you really think you should be eating that with your body? And I get up and I throw the fork down. There's like a kind of a famous meme of me like getting up and like throwing a fork down and walking away. I remember during that time, I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to call him a meathead in response. I just have to do it. And here I was thinking like, this is about to be something that he has never heard before.
Let me blow your mind here.
I said, yeah, meathead. And he didn't blink. He didn't. In fact, when they called cut, he goes, let me ask you, do you think that's the first time I've heard that? I said, no, but it's the first time I've said it to you. And I said, I may never get this opportunity again to call you a meathead. So, that's the best I got. And he said, that's fair. That's fair.
He's like, I'm not going to take that moment from
Yeah.
you. You
like,
want it really badly.
Oh my gosh.
The first thing I think of is the moment I found out that Rob Reiner was going to join our show. And I'll never forget it because it was like this big CC Jess episode that had the boob fight.
Yeah.
And we were in some weird warehouse downtown LA, some creepy place just down there. And I remember all of a sudden there was like a shift in the energy. And I went over to Video Village and Brett and Dave were there and Liz was there. And they were all, and Aaron O'Malley, and they're all like just poring over their phone. Just like looking. And I was sort of like, what happened? And they're like, we just cast Zoe's parents in the show. And I was like, okay, who? And I was so green. Like, I didn't really understand, like the big gets that then our show continued to have with some of the biggest names ever. Mm-hmm. Right? That hadn't really been established yet. We hadn't had those seasons and seasons where it was like these big people come on the show.
Yep.
And in a way, I feel like Jamie Lee Curtis and Rob Reiner joining our show, like they, like they elevated our show so much by lending their names and their talent to us that all of a sudden other people were like,
oh,
Jamie Lee Curtis and Rob Reiner are doing the show.
You're for sure
I'm doing the show.
Yeah.
Who am I to say no to that show? And I just remember them saying it's Jamie Lee Curtis and Rob Reiner. And like my blood ran cold because I was just like, oh my God. Like my favorite film director of all time is going to be in the same room. And it was like I immediately forgot how to act. Not act as a job, but like act as a human. Like, and you just forget yourself. I was like, I don't know what am I going to do? And I'll just say this little bit because it's important to understand why this would be very overwhelming for me. So when I was 14 years old, my family moved to India. Before that, we lived in Cyprus, where the television was run by the Archbishop. To give you an example of the censorship in the country, they played Coming to America on TV when I was 12 years old. It was 11 minutes long. Okay? I watched Coming to America and I thought it was short. Okay? I don't know. And before that, I was in Saudi Arabia. Okay, so just to give you an understanding of my life up to that point. Moved to India. We go to the Canadian embassy. They have like 6 VHS tapes. So I take one and go home. There is no internet. There's no way to Google anything. I just have this tape. And I loved music. Still love music. And it was about a band called Spinal Tap.
Okay.
Okay. So I watch the movie. There was no such thing as a mockumentary.
Did you think it was real?
Thought it was real. I thought it was real. And then was in India for a few years. Then I moved to go to university. And we're all talking about our favorite bands. When people were talking about like Metallica and all these heavier bands. And I was like, well, I'm a fan of Spinal Tap. And then one person was sort of like, well, they're not real. But again, there's no internet. There's no way to Google it. Right?
Oh my gosh.
And I was sort of like, no, they're real. Like I watched the documentary. They're real. And it wasn't until many, many years later that I found out that it was a mockumentary. And that is all a credit to the genius of Rob Reiner. And it just was something that has stuck with me and stuck to my bones. And like right now, I'm writing a mockumentary comedy series for network television right now with, by the way, the director of this episode, Trent O'Donnell. And all of that originates from the power of comedy and great storytelling that started with Rob Reiner when I was a 14-year-old girl in India. And I love him so much. Changed my life in so many ways and love him so much. And is one of those people, I think you will agree with this, it is wild, that took the time with every single person, sat down, told the best stories, really listened. And when you saw him again and again, always remembered where you last left off so he could pick it right back up. And you see so many people writing about their interactions with Rob Reiner, meeting him once in a grocery store for 5 minutes, or someone who's had a lifetime with him as a best friend for 40 plus years. And what's incredible is the consistency of how loved and seen that everybody felt. And he was just the absolute best. And I cannot believe that we got to be his friend and to kind of play with him for years and years and years and years.
Yeah, it was one of those strange things, like you said, when you hear someone's coming on the show, you just, everything starts flooding your brain of that person. And, you know, it's strange. It's strange to look back on your life and kind of, you know, you kind of take it for granted a little bit. New Girl kind of had that effect. Like you said, they joined the show and then everybody else joins the show and then somebody else joins the show and you go, oh, this is normal life, right?
Right.
It's not. It's not, because people like that who are so gifted in their work and who are so talented, you have to embrace their presence as much as you can and kind of observe and figure out why they are, if that's what you want for your life. If you want longevity and consistency, just look at how he treated people. You know what I mean? He was so nice and so kind to the writers, the crew, the actors, so giving, like you said, of his stories, his time, his experiences. And, I try my best to, obviously you look back and you go, man, I wish I would have, picked his brain more, or I wish I would have sat with him longer and, stayed in contact, or I wish I would have, there are all those things that go through your brain. But what you can rest on is, going back and watching episodes and, doing what we're doing now, just chit-chatting about them and, telling old stories. And I think that's fair to say. If anyone you've lost, you can always rest on the warm and fond memories that you may have of those people. Because especially when they left an imprint on a lot of different people. So you can you can find a lot of those stories from, decades and decades and decades of crew members and directors and, fans and friends. You can find the stories and people to chit chat about Rob. So
it's a phenomenal thing. I guess the power of it all is it's like the micro and the macro, the personal and the professional, right? It's that whatever, people don't remember, what you do, but they'll always remember how you made them feel.
Yeah.
Right. And it's sort of like on the macro, on the professional level, with the movies he made and the stories he told and the care he told in telling those stories. It made people feel things so deeply. It made them believe in love. It made them laugh. It gave them escape. It gave them food for thought. It pushed them. It challenged them. And people who've never met him hold that so deeply, right? Because it impacted them. But then you look on the personal. You look at that on these day-to-day small interactions. And that's the part where it is phenomenal to me that someone that was such a legend and an icon that I got to know in that manner and to see was the exact same way he moved in this world with everyone.
Yeah.
With everyone. And I think that those people are so rare to be that gentle and brilliant and authentically kind. And enjoy it. Just enjoy people. Enjoy spending time with them and listening and sharing. It was so true and you felt it, which made you instantly feel so safe and seen. And I was so new on that show and not so sure of my own place in it. And he walked onto the set and treated me like I was a contemporary of his. Like just as valid being there as he was in the industry, in this space, on this earth, just moving through the scene with him as an actor. And that was it has stuck to my heart. And I think about it always if I ever feel shaken, is that he saw me that way and treated me that way. And yeah, anyway, I just feel like we are all the luckiest, and I am so happy that we have a legacy, a part of his legacy, on our show that people can go and watch, and it can hopefully give them comfort and make them smile, because that's all he would want.
Yeah, he called me his hero. He's no longer with us, so you can't verify that. But I'm just gonna leave one. He said that I was the greatest actor he's ever worked with.
That would make him giggle. I do think it's very, very fitting that this episode is written by an actor, by you, and it's about issues that are really important. And you felt so moved that you needed to speak about the fact that you were playing a black cop.
Yeah.
And that I feel like it's just perfect that this is the episode that we are doing today. So we're going to dive into 420 Par 5, written by you and Rob Reiner and directed by Trenty.
Oh, yeah. This one was an interesting episode. It was obviously, I'll just give you a little, backstory of why I wanted to write this episode. I think it was 2015, maybe. I got into the news. The news was like in your face. It felt like every week there was a different story about a police officer shooting of like an unarmed, black dude. And, you can be moved. Anyone who watches the news can really trigger you in certain ways. And I was watching it like everyone else going, damn, this is messed up. Like, this is like, what the hell? Another person just got murdered. Damn, another person just got murdered. What the heck is going on? And I started getting all these tweets. Like, I mean, a lot. People were just like, in like DMs and messages about people. And like when you see people, they would ask you, is that weird playing a black cop on TV? And I didn't think anything of it. I was like, no. At first, I was like...
Well, it was also the Ferguson riots. You were not only a black cop on TV, but you had, weirdly, a cat.
A cat named Ferguson.
It was very weird. The layers of
really
it were
strange.
strange. Yeah, you were in a spot where you were going to answer for it.
Yeah, and I was like, damn it. And people kept asking me, like, what do you think? What do you think? And I'm not, the... What do you call it? I'm not the... what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not the guy to go to for your... for your political dealings and feelings, etc. But I did have some thoughts on it, and I started to get frustrated and annoyed with the line of questioning. You know what I mean? Because what black folks, that wasn't like a new thing. Sure. It's just that the news, with video cameras and footage, they started picking it up more, and other people start getting involved, and then it starts to spread like wildfire. What's happening, sure. Or what looks like what's happening, or what some people say, is happening more in their community than in this community. And so it started to become this big thing. So I said to myself, I was like, I should probably, and I think I just become a police officer on the show. Yeah. And I was like, I want to address that somehow. And my feelings went from far left to far right to up to down. I was like, wait, because I have friends who are police officers, and I was speaking to police officers about how they felt, and it was kind of mixed within certain police departments. They were like, some people were like, yeah, this is messed up, and some people were like, dude, that's just a few cats over there doing stupid stuff. So you didn't know what to think. And so when I wrote the episode, I called Liz and I said, can we adjust my original thought was, I don't want to wear a uniform anymore. And I said, well, I could still be the cop, But what I don't want is every time I'm wearing a police uniform on the show for that to be the thing. For every time the episode airs, people are like, look at this black man wearing a police officer when all this stuff going, because people don't know how TV is made. And it's a lot of, I was like, I can play the police officer. Can we remove the storylines? And like, she was like, well, let's address it. We get a lot of mileage out of this profession. We've been trying to find you a job for so long. Let's address it. So we
finally
did.
Get Winnie the Bish a job, and he's like, I quit.
I quit. So I was like,
Liz
here
is
I
like,
am,
"No."
confused, left and right. I'm like, what to do? What do I do? And so she paired me up with Rob Rosell, and to help write this, to co-write this episode together. And that's why. And we play with a lot of iterations of levels of like extreme, unrest, or just like what you see in the episode is kind of mild.
Sure.
But still, we bring up some points. You know what I mean? Some real points. There are a lot of things I would have done differently, but that's the reason this episode came about, and that's how it came about. So let's dive in.
Let's dive in.
Ooh, so this one we had a great set of guest stars in this one. Kiersey Clemens as Casey, Artemis Pebdani as Martha Yautz, Holly Saunders as herself, and we've got Zoe Lister-Jones as Fawn Moscato. Councilwoman
Moscato.
Okay, so personal and moral dilemmas are at the forefront of this episode. But first of all, is anyone shocked to learn that Jess's golf game is subpar? It was really bad. I'm not.
What I will say, without exaggerating, because I know you are now like quite recently, as in the past couple of years, very into golf. But listen, I will say, you're like 2 days on the course.
Yeah.
I, without exaggeration, Jess's golf game is the exact same as mine.
Really?
I have yet to connect the stick with the ball. I go out and I'll swing. I don't get it. I don't have the hand-eye coordination, often blessed to young boys as they grow up. I don't have any hand-eye coordination. I don't know how to do the thing. I see it, I swing, and I get clumps of grass. So I watched this and I was like, I don't think this is like a broad comedy moment. I think this is just how some of us do the sport. Okay, continue.
Potentially. That's kind of what I look like when I first. No, I take that back. I was never that bad. I'm whatever. You know what I mean. While attending a charity golf event with Councilwoman Fawn Moscato, Jess faces a decision between doing whatever it takes to get computers for her students or being honest and staying true to herself. Cece helps Schmidt see that he doesn't have to edit, change, or compromise himself to be loved by someone, while Winston finds himself lying to a potential love interest about being a cop and exploring his own internal conflict about this chosen career path, plus the decision he made to lie about it.
Not only a cop, but you a lying cop.
Let's do it a little differently on this one when we recap.
Okay.
Let's A story, C story, B story. You know what I mean? Let's dive into it. Let's dive into it that way. And so we've got 3 plot lines happening in this episode. 2 of them are kind of interwoven.
Yeah.
Jess accompanies Councilwoman Fawn Moscato to a charity golf game in the hopes of finding funds for school computers, while Cece helps Schmidt gets prepped for the photo op with Fawn Moscato.
Wait, I just have to ask this question because this is the thought I had, okay? Because you were writing it, right? Cece gets called to come and help brown the skin of Schmidt, okay? And Jess is like, what if he asks you to do something really sexy? And then he's like, I want you to put bronzer all over my body. Which usually it's like, it's like a girl being like, can you put like suntan lotion on me? And the guy's like, how am I going to stay controlled when I lather and slather her body here at the beach, right? I would say as a woman, applying cream to a man, it doesn't do anything for us. But I was like, these are men writing the episode. Was this the male idea of like, we think this is something that works both ways? That Cece
No,
would be
it's
turned on by slathering Schmidt?
it's from experience. It's from experience. Every time I have a woman rub suntan lotion all over me, it does something for her.
This is drawn from your personal.
This is personal, and I love the sunscreen with the suntan lotion with the glitter, the shimmer. You know what I mean? Get a little golden cheeks going on.
It is true. It is nice. Put on your face is crazy.
Well, you played it well.
Nice idea.
You played it well.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, you played it beautifully.
A challenging storyline where I really had to dig deep to figure out how to be turned on by lotioning up Max Greenfield. Okay, I just had to ask that question. I was like, who thought of that? Okay.
Yeah, that's basically it is guys thinking, but it's also New Girl thinking. You got to flip things on its head because a lot of stuff that us men have to do in New Girl was based off of Liz's writing. She thought it was
true.
You're talking about rubbing lotion on someone and like why would that do it? You're speaking to the guy who was on his period on an episode. So just knock it off.
Menstruation.
I got that menstruation inside of me.
About menstruation. Okay, all right. Wow, we're doing great today.
Yes, but like I said, it starts with Fawn giving Schmidt his feedback for the week in front of everyone at the loft, including sex critiques. She said, "No more screaming. That's how Schmitty do." And he was like, "Even if that's how Schmitty does, even if that's how Schmitty do." Yeah, so that and my favorite part of that whole exchange was you and Fawn going back and forth.
It is the most when women talk with smiles on their face, but they're saying like the most scathing things is one of my favorite things to do in life. I've slept with him so many times. What's your name? Is that your name? Don't worry, you'll learn it. Love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. And this weird, crazy thing when Jess arrives, the weird egg roll thing. Oh, it was really funny.
So when Jess comes in, she's frustrated that she can't get. First of all, that night, I remember that being. I didn't pitch that. I was so lost by it, to be honest with you. We were writing it, and I was like, I guess.
The egg roll thing?
Yeah.
The funniest to me is that it absolutely makes no sense. It's so weird. Yeah. This IW and this and the night and the whatever. I think it's just to show how Fawn does not really like fit into their world whatsoever.
It is.
Of weirdness and their inside jokes. But my favorite part is
Damon.
I always love it when you watch one of us just slip into who we are as humans out of character, because that's Jake being like, who are you in all of this?
Yeah, that's not
scripted. And then Damon being like, I'm the Jessica. And you're like, and you watch Jake's face go, and they had to cut out of it so quick because he laughing.
Yes, there was a brief pause there, and I was like, did he have a comeback there? And he didn't, and they just
he loved it too much. It was genuine. He was like, this is the greatest thing ever. Yeah, it makes no sense, but it's so funny.
Well. Where are we right now? Yes. So, Jess is trying to get computers for the school, and she wonders if Councilwoman Fawn, might be able to throw some weight around to help. It just so happens that there's this charity event, this high-powered LA women thing, this golf event. And she convinces Fawn to let her tag along. And, at the event, Jess is pleading her case with some of the attendees, including Martha Younts herself. But her chat game is terrible. She can't. It's kind of like how I am in real life. It's like I don't network very well.
That's not. I literally was talking to someone about you yesterday, and they were talking about having me go to certain events. And I said, can you make sure if you're going to send me to an event to just, if it's like not an all female thing, can you just see if like Lamorne can also get an invitation. I said, because he's kind of like my social anxiety blanket. I was like, he's so extroverted, and if we're together, he'll talk to everybody, and then I can kind of just sort of like drift behind him and kind of get through the evening. I don't see you like that at all.
It's
You're
true.
great in a room.
It's true. I'm not.
You feel that way about yourself?
Yeah, I feel that way. I don't. If I see some, did I tell you my Julia Louis-Dreyfus story?
No.
It's bad.
No.
It's bad. I walk up to. I was with Alicia. We went to like the night before a party, and she's there standing by
Night
herself.
before the Emmys. Mm-hmm.
Right, and she's there standing by herself, and she's like, "We gotta go talk to her." And I'm like, "Oh God!" So we just kind of fade our way in her area, and she was so nice. She saw me like she knew me. It was like, she was like, "Oh my God, hi!" And I was like, "Oh, hey, how are you?" And we're talking, and I forget that she had asked me a question because at some point I just blanked, going, "Don't embarrass yourself, Lauren. Don't embarrass yourself." In that train of thought, I got lost in a cloud of nothing.
Oh no, that's the
And
worst.
while she's talking, she's literally talking to me. I turned around and started walking in the other direction. Alicia was so embarrassed. She was like, she told me, she was like, "Elle, I had to save you. I don't know." She said she forgot what she had to say to this woman, but she had walked away from her and gave her a hug and tried to let her forget about the awkward encounter she had with me. I was just like, I can't talk. She's the GOAT. I can't talk to her.
I get that feeling though. I understand that feeling where you're just like, you leave your body, and then you're watching yourself, and then you're like, I gotta go. I don't know. I don't think I've actually ever physically walked away, but I understand the feeling of it. People don't understand. It's like they think that you're just like all actors hanging out together and it's whatever. But when you're especially new to the industry, you're finding yourself. I'll never forget when we were nominated for a Golden Globe and Spielberg came up and shook our hand. And I was like, I have to leave immediately.
Yes.
What's happening?
Yeah.
Why
Morgan
do you
Freeman
know me?
was saying hello.
You should have known me. I gotta go.
Yeah.
You
It's
have
wild.
to leave. It is a wild moment. Anyway, well, let me put it this way. If you think that you're not great in social situations, then imagine where I'm at. Because you're the person that protects me in those moments. So God help us both. Okay, continue.
Now, at the event, like I said, she's pleading her case to all these folks, and then she starts to plead her case to Martha Youts.
Yeah.
Artemis Pebdani, you know her from
Genius.
Always Sunny, Scandal, a bunch of other stuff. And Fawn tells Jess that her network game is a cruise ship disaster, and that she has the confidence of a child raised in a basement. Because that's what it felt like. So the councilwoman, she gives her a crash course. You got to be effective. You got to be memorable, including don't wear underwear, she says. It gives you the extra edge. And this is my favorite part of it with Zoe's reaction. She goes, power emanates from the vagina. I think she said, like, amongst other things. Yeah. She's like, what? She's like,
What?
It was the perfect.
Can I say what I love about it so much is it seems so out of pocket and it just seems like a joke. And the fact that it comes back around in the episode as like the big gotcha moment is great.
Oh, yeah. And then now the training, is working. Mm-hmm. It's working because now you see her boom, 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 boom. She's clicking with everybody. And it's not long before Martha Youts tells Jess that she would like to continue schmoozing in the clubhouse. When you get invited to the clubhouse.
Come on now.
That's a bunch of, old folks doing business and handling deals. Now, Fawn is impressed, you know what I mean? But she's like, you got to finish the game. Jess is really bad at golf. She's really bad. So now Fawn is losing her patience with her. I mean, when I say bad, like for those folks out there who don't golf, if you got one hole of golf, just one hole. Let's say it's called a par 5, like this episode is called par 5, which means you should be able to hit it in the hole within 5 attempts.
Right.
Anything
and
under.
They give it cutie names if you do it in less.
Yeah, if you get it one under, that's
Birdies and
is a birdie, then it's
eagles,
an eagle, and an albatross, and
turkeys.
hole in ones. It's all
Yeah,
kinds of.
we know all the terms. Yeah.
She got it in like 100 something. that's really bad. That's blind person without a golf club.
That's me.
Bad. So Fawn is losing her patience with Jess's lack of golf skills and unwillingness to write down a fake score. That's what you do. Sometimes when you want to keep moving forward. If you get just write something down, write the worst score you can possibly, and just keep it going. But she doesn't want to do that. You know what I mean? And then she goes, Martha doesn't strike me as the kind of person who would give computers to cheaters. And so then Fawn has to drop some truth bombs on her a little bit.
Yeah.
She's just like, listen, events like these are simply for networking and finding ways to be more powerful. Okay. In fact, the charity money isn't even for charity. It just pays for the event.
That really did surprise me. That's how naive I am. I got really sad at that thought. I'm a child.
I knew that to be true.
Yes.
All these charities, just think about it, folks. A lot of the charities, they have to operate.
True.
So they do have to pay employees to help operate the events. They have to pay for those things. So not every dime is going towards the cause. It's going towards the helping of potentially, but it's not going directly.
The greater good. It's going to the greater good of the cause.
Yes, the greater good of the cause.
Like a golf
game. So Jess is realizing that the computers were never on the table. She doesn't want any of this. She becomes determined to finish her game honestly. So she's in the woods looking for her ball. She finds a dead bird.
Baby
it's
bird.
not going well. And then what's probably hours later, Martha Youts yells, the par was 5. You're the worst golfer I've ever seen. And, Jess is just basically over it. She says, I don't care. I don't care if I look stupid. I didn't come here to climb the ladder. The only reason why I came here is to get the computers from my students. And Martha respects that. She says, you know what? I'll get you those computers. In 2018, when the district is fiscally solvent, which would be 3 years later. And Jess takes that as a win, Now, this is when Fawn, this is photo op time. She decides to make the moment about herself, makes a speech, accidentally hits the ball in the hole, and then when she leans over to pick it up, this is where it goes back to her not wearing any underwear, and she flashes everyone. Everyone.
What did she say? What does Martha say? She says, everyone's like a snowflake. Each one's like a snowflake. Unique.
Very, 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 very. Now,
man. Okay, so back at the loft, we have got Cece and Schmidt. She puts the bronzer on, like we said, finds the sparkles. Now they got to undo it. But really, they start having a big conversation about being loved and accepted exactly for who you are. And I think Cece's trying her best to be mature and supportive, but it's really hard because he's in a pretty toxic relationship, and so she kind of gives him some home truths. And he realizes that he may have to have that conversation. But then a bunch of ridiculous, it's where Max shines the most, like while they're having this big heartfelt conversation, absolutely ludicrous, huge, broad comedy jokes are being made. He is now going as pale as a ghost. What did she say? It's one of my favorite things. You look like a wooden carving of yourself. She's like, you look like a doll boy, a doll man.
A doll man.
A doll man. There's so many funny jokes. But again, it's the beautiful thing about this show is that they build the relationship. They make you root for this couple so deeply with Schmidt and Cece, and Cece's softening, I think, towards him and protectiveness of him is it's important series-wise. It's very sweet.
Oh, yeah. So when they're having that conversation, it's not long before Schmidt notices that he's sparkling. That's where we are, right?
Well, I've kind of just summed over it. I just kind of blasted through the whole thing because I was like, we're going to get to the fact where he shows up at the golf event just in time to witness Fawn, give her speech. She flashes the world. And then they come back to the loft. And Fawn tells Schmidt that she understands if he wants to break up with her because she's just lost all her power,
Yeah.
right? And he's the one who now gets to give her the reassurance. So it's kind of backfired on Cece
Yeah.
a while back, where she's like, well, I don't want to break up with you because I like you just the way you are. And it's actually a sweet moment with Schmitty and Fawn.
My favorite part of that, back at the loft, this is post golf course.
Yeah.
This is, she's on the phone, Fawn's on the phone, and she's like, what do you mean there's a meme? And it talks? What does it say? And then you realize, she's like, well, you're a dad. And she's like, oh, you're my dad. I remember workshopping that on. That's the fun thing about being a writer on TV is that you sit there and you do bits as well. Like we were there, like coming up with jokes and stuff while she was saying it, and I do remember writing that one specifically and going, "Oh, that'd be really funny." Like, what? You're my dad. Yeah. So now let's talk about Winston and KC. This is like I said, there are 3 storylines. This would be the B plot line. Now, Winston, Coach, and Nick, they hang out at a coffee shop when Winston spots this cute young lady.
Wait, is this the one where it starts off where he's like, and then that's what I said to that? And he's like, don't do that. We just sat down. Don't make it seem like we're in the middle of a... But I love that so much because that's what everybody writes in a comedy.
And that's why I wrote it. I said, I was
good.
It's like, and it was a bit that I used to do. It was a bit that I used to always do that with Jake. And like I just see him in the beginning in like the day. You show up in the morning, and I would just act like we were in the middle of a conversation. And I'm like, I'll come up to him and I'll walk up to him and I'll go, what was I saying? Yeah. And he's like, he looks at me like, you just got here, Lamorne.
Yeah,
like,
you're deranged.
And so I wrote that specifically for those two.
It made me laugh so hard because it's always like that. They cut to it to make it seem like they've been kicking it for a long time at the coffee shop. Like in the middle of the conversation, then they begin the scene. And it's so funny that it's called out. It's one of my favorite things I've seen in so long, and it made me laugh out loud. It's so good. And then it's followed up with my other favorite thing. Shorty, what that thing do?
I get asked to say that so much. That's just like a saying. That's kind of like a black saying in like the hip hop community. Shorty, what that thing do? I don't. I want to say it's specific to a particular song, but I don't think so. But I just remember saying it a lot. And in an episode that's like, I have workshopped a couple of things, but that one was the one that just popped out. I don't even think that was in the script.
It's so funny.
Yeah,
and they're like, no, don't do that. And when then Damon tries to actually physically fix your face,
yeah,
he's like, I don't know what his face is doing now.
Oh, God.
It's so good.
So Winston, he meets Casey, and he's obviously like stumbling and struggling here. This is kind of like how I am in real life. He's like, Casey, where JoJo at? And for those who don't know, a group called Jodeci. And forgive me, Jodeci, if I wrote that joke about Casey being on drugs. Or JoJo being, I forget which one.
I don't know either. And I was sitting there being like, are we in pop-up video? Is this real?
Like, I don't think that was real. I
don't think it's real. Starting a rumor.
He was on drugs. Yeah, I don't think he was. I could be. KC could have been. I don't know. Anyway.
One of my favorite music videos and songs of all time, Cry For You.
Oh, yeah.
Remember they're in there and they're in the desert? And like their white shirts are just flying in the wind. Yeah, it's so good. It's like getting some Mariah notes.
Oh, man.
Okay, all right. So you're choking, bro.
Choking, but he just asked her, "Hey, I'd love to see you later for lunch," and she agrees. But then she also says, "Or you could come with me to this rally that I'm going to now. It's to protest the police." And he panics because he's literally wearing a LAPD shirt. He stands up to try to walk away, and he has to like back out of the situation.
It's such a funny reveal because you don't see it till right after the whole thing. And he's like, well, how about we just stick with lunch? The scene is over. And then you guys have this great moment where then you cut to a wide behind him and you see the shirt.
Yeah.
And he's got to like moonwalk away. New girl classic.
He should have actually moonwalked. That would have been great.
Reshoot.
Now later they grab lunch, and then Casey tells Winston about a 14-year-old kid that she knows who got arrested because he fit a description, yet he can barely fit into his jeans. Then comes the big question. What do you do? At that moment, a couple of cops roll up. Tall white guy is Rob Rosell. So he's the co-writer. He had to put himself in there. And she clocks the situation, and she's like, because they talk to him. Hey, Bishop.
Yeah.
Hey. So he's on the fence a little bit. He's like, do I say something? Do I not? How do I get out of this? And she just asks.
Think fast.
She goes, you're a cop. And he's like, no. I'm a male stripper. It's a surprising amount of day work for male strippers, Then he starts reminiscing about how he's lost a few good men to soup. And he tries to really dive in there because you'd be shocked what you could use for a ladle. Now back at the loft, Winston tells Nick, he's venting. Like, I can't believe I didn't tell her I was a cop, with everything that's going on. I just felt like maybe she wouldn't respect me. And Nick is like, you know what I think? Winston's like, no, I don't. You just can't understand it, which I think is funny. This is probably I don't know if I would have changed a lot about this episode, about this particular moment, but it is a thing where when you try to express what you're feeling for someone who hasn't been in your shoes, it could be race. It could be a woman talking to a man about something that he can't get because he's not a woman. Could be anything. You know what I mean? Like I have friends who are actors who they're white guys, and some for a while there, white guys couldn't get work. That's what they say. That's what they were saying, and I was like, I don't agree, but I also don't. I'm not a white guy, so I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna let you live with that. I'm gonna let you soak in that.
Don't you feel though that we know that though? Like, we know not to chime in. We understand that people walk through the world differently and experience things because we just know that. But I think white men in particular often struggle to understand that their experience is not universal, and so they would like to chime in and they would like to contribute to all the conversations of how they would probably handle it if that experience was happening to them.
Yeah.
And that's why it's really powerful how you guys wrote it, where you're just sort of like, nope, you don't get to chime in, you don't get to contribute. No, stop talking.
Yeah, so it's a strange thing because he is my friend. Mm-hmm. And so you are supposed to be able to vent to your friend. But this situation was so different and so unique to Winston, him not only being black, but also being the cop.
Yeah.
He is the cop. He is the person who has people, not Winston, but for Lamorne, tweeting him, commenting, asking him questions. What do you think? What do you feel? As if I'm some sort of authority on the matter.
Sure.
And I'm like, damn it. So that's what he's going through right now with Nick in this situation. But I like his reasoning behind it. He says, you lost your right to talk to me about race during the OJ trial. They flash back to a young Winston and Nick watching the Bronco chase. And Nick is going, why does it have to be a white Bronco? Why can't it just be a Bronco?
It got me. I was like, that is the smartest flashback to explain why. Just don't, buddy.
Now back to present. Nick, he says he can talk about this. They grew up together. They went to school together, listened to the same records. And then he does the worst Eddie Murphy impression.
Oh my gosh. When he does it the second time and he just goes, Murphy.
Murphy.
And I'm like, oh, stop it.
And, Winston says it's so bad it's not even offensive. And then, Nick is like, well, okay, well, if you want to get weird about race, do your Seinfeld impression. Break out the Seinfeld impression. And Nick thinks it's pretty good.
It is. It's really good.
But again, it goes back to, I love you, man, but you're white, I'm black. I understand where she's coming from. When I was a kid, we used to run from the police, even if we did nothing wrong. And that is a fact. That is you're trained this way to, I think a little. I obviously think differently now that I'm older, but when I was a kid, that used to be the thing. If you heard police sirens, you ran. The movies showed when cops pulled up, black people ran. That's what I grew up with. I'm from the South Side of Chicago. Every time I saw cops, it was like arresting somebody. You know what I mean? And so it wasn't. So if that's what you grow up thinking and feeling,
Sure.
I applied that to Winston. And so, you know, he talks about it. He says we grew up together, but we grew up differently still. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, he goes, "How come you never told me?" And then you hear Coach, "Because you wouldn't get it." And how long you been standing there? And then he does the perfect Eddie Murphy impression. You probably got enough in the back of my neck. It makes you like this. And then we start going back and forth. And then Nick is like, "I honestly don't see the difference." What we tried to do is drop a little bit of something in there to cause a conversation with people. That's basically what we wanted to do, is have people talking about it. But also add some really stupid jokes in there on top of it. Just because this still is a sitcom. Remember, this still is a comedy. You know, not everything is a teachable moment, and
That was the thing. Don't you remember at that specific time too? I feel like there was this exhaustion happening from very earnest, good-natured white people wanting to be better educated and how to be a better ally, and so a lot of black people were being asked in very heavy, serious conversations to educate people all the time. And it was exhausting. And so I think there was this really incredible balance of just sort of like, you got to figure that out. It's what happens in this episode. Know that this is not for you right now. Back out of it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's not my job to sit here and to do it. The moment that I love the most is Damon. Where he's like, yeah, I guess I should talk about it. I have thoughts and ideas that I'd like to share. And I'm hungry.
Yeah.
So race talk, snacks, race talk.
Snacks.
They just this is normal. We talk about these things. This is something that happens, but it's not like the biggest, heaviest conversation. And so I'm going to do it with my bowl of pretzels, and I'll chat as much as I feel comfortable. Is what it kind of felt like drawing that boundary and that line, and not taking on the earnestness of Nick.
And meanwhile, Winston, he finds Casey at work because he comes to the conclusion that he's just going to tell her the truth. He walks in the uniform and says, "This is the real me. I'm proud of what I do. I really am. I work with a lot of great people, and I want to be one of them. Plus, if there's ever a Ghostbusters, you know, I know they're going to come recruit from law enforcement first."
From law enforcement first for the Ghostbusters movie. Didn't Paul Feig direct that?
Oh, yeah. And so probably Jason Reitman. Now, I know you're mad at me. I just came to say. And then Casey, he's like, "I know you're mad at me. I just came to say that." And then Casey's like, "I'm not mad that you're a cop. I'm mad that you lied." And he's
That's a female response there, by the way.
I know, but that's BS. Anyway, you know, and Winston's asking if there's any way he could take her out again. And she's like, "You know, that uniform is kind of distracting. Maybe you should take it off." You lied and said you were a stripper. It seems like the fair thing to do. So he does it. And
the leg. I was like, "Is your hip okay?"
Yeah, I tore my labrum. Tore my labrum right there.
I mean, that was like a rotation of the leg. Oh, pop! And I was just like, that hurt. That looked like it hurt.
Hey, folks at home, that wasn't my leg.
Oh my God. Okay. All right.
Okay, so you know that. So basically, that ends the episode. And again, it was something that it felt like a necessity for me to write that, to just address the folks at home. And I can tell you, one thing I'll never want to be is a political pundit. I got asked to do interviews with like CNN and different Fox News and this, and I was way out of my depth. I was like,
Did you do them?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I did a few.
Oh, that
And
would be my nightmare.
it was my
That'd be
nightmare
my
because
nightmare.
I was like, at that time, I never watched really like political talk shows or anything like that. And people were like genuinely, I would get like a lot of pushback on Twitter. People were like, fuck you. And, we're out there saving lives. And I'm like, I thought I was pretty down the middle on this one. I played the
Well, I
police
feel like that's almost like the issue, right?
Yeah.
Is that you can't actually lean too far
Yeah.
in any direction.
Yeah.
And because of that, both sides then will be angry. And that's
Yeah.
so disappointing because you're like, I'm using this platform to speak on something. I'm doing it in a way that feels authentic to myself.
Yeah.
And you want me to be on everyone's side from an extreme point of view. And now
Yeah.
you're all mad at me. It doesn't feel good. That's
Yeah.
really disappointing.
That's when I realized after that, I was like, you know what? I'll never be on Bill Maher. I was like,
Sure.
I'll never be on CNN again. I will never do an interview on Fox News. Nothing politically related because I'm like, it is a wild world out there. And half the people out there, especially online and social media, aren't real. And they just try to spark fire and sway people in a particular direction to keep causing more confusion and chaos. And I think at the end of the day, everyone wants the same things.
Right.
And it's just that you're in so many different echo chambers of information and talk and different things that people have they're in their own worlds. And they can't realize that their neighbor across the street, regardless of what flag they have hanging outside their house, they want the exact same things you want. Mm-hmm. But you're just told that they're your enemy. And so you start to behave like we're enemies and we never get along. And that's how the cycle continues. We never get along. And it's nuts. It's stupid. You know what I mean? If we could all just agree that, Pootie Tang is the greatest movie of all time, we can all live happy and normal lives.
You said that when you rewatch it, there are things that you would do differently. What are the things that you would do differently?
It's hard because you mature politically. You get more understanding politically the older you get.
Sure.
And I feel like in certain parts of the episode, I feel like I didn't go hard enough. Mm-hmm. With what was happening with Black folks, and I wish I would have. I think I tried. I remember, but it's TV. It's a sitcom. But then there are other moments where I wish I had police officers' backs even more, because a lot of things can get lost in comedy and lost in trying to walk a line of like what the character is feeling, because you obviously, this still is coming from the character's point of view. So it was hard to straddle that line, and you're under time constraints when you're writing the episode, and you got 18 people like pitching jokes and doing ideas and then carving stuff up, and and you're like, damn, I because I was getting a lot of pushback from police officers, and I was like, but that's not what I'm trying to say, and you just gotta let it go. So I wish I would have fine-tuned it a bit more, just to show there are two parts of honest points of view. Casey's point of view, her being someone protesting for real stuff that's happening, and there's a kid that thing happened to, and it's dead wrong, But then this officer, you know what I mean, and how he says it a little bit about how proud he is of what but I feel like I could have done a better job of fine-tuning both sides of that coin, if that makes sense.
I'll say, especially here now doing this recap and listening to like some of my favorite jokes and moments in this had nothing to do with race or being a cop, or just really, really, really funny moments that you put in there, is that I wish you had written more episodes where they were just based on funny shit and funny stories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I was like, oh, it's incredibly important that you wrote this episode, and it had to be done. And I am so grateful that we worked with a showrunner that could see that and would say, this is for you to do. Like, we trust you and believe in you and stand behind you to do it. And I wish that then, seeing how great of a writer you are, that then we got more episodes written by you that were just about dumb shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I wanted. Ultimately, I was like, man, I want to just turn this into the dumbest episode of all time.
Sure.
You know, and now that I golf, I wish I would have, you know, I could rewrite a lot of the golf banter. There's a lot of moments I would have, you know, I would have had it like where Jess is like hitting the ball, and then she's like, and then she goes, there's a moment where it's like, oh my gosh, like 80, you know, at 85 is not bad. Like, or like a 90. A 90 is like, for someone who's never golfed before, a 90 is great. Oh my God. And she's like, yeah, now let's play the back nine. You know, it's like, now let's play, you know, for those
Or
who know golf.
Or they think the 90 is the score, but it's the number of strokes that you took to get the ball.
I mean, I'm like, gosh,
that'd be me.
You know. Anyway.
I'm really just there to drive the cart.
Yeah.
I love driving the cart. I'm just a kid, you guys. I'm the cart
First
girl.
of all, cart girl, you used to be a bartender.
That's right.
Yeah, drive around serving alcohol. That's great.
Perfect.
You want to jump into our roomie message of the week?
Yes, roomie message of the week. It's from Bryant. Why did I sing it? I don't know. Okay. Hey, what's up, guys? What's wrong with me today? I've turned into a cartoon. I don't know. That was just like a Bugs Bunny. Like, I don't know, Bryant. Maybe he's just like, hey, what's up, guys? I love tuning in to listen to Hannah and Lamorne along with the Lamorning After Show. You guys are truly the best. New Girl is the first show my wife and I actually agreed upon and have watched it from beginning to end an unhealthy amount of times. My second favorite characters are Winston and Bob. It was shocking to hear of his passing. He was a writing genius.
He didn't say second favorite. He said my two favorites.
Oh, my two favorite characters are Winston and Bob. That makes more sense. I drive the cart, you guys. They don't let me hold the sticks. Okay, my two favorite characters are Winston and Bob. It was shocking to hear of his passing. He was a writing genius. Hannah and Larry. Oh.
That's right. That's my nickname. They know.
You know, it is funny that I hear everybody call you Larry. Like, I go to your house and people call you Larry. And it's just so funny because I've known you for like, I don't know, 100 years now. And it's, you know, when it's like everyone else has a name for someone, but like I have never called you that. And so it feels always so, I'm always just like, don't you call him, like, his name is Lamorne. Like, I want to correct people, but that is actually a nickname you like. Okay. All right. Hannah and Larry, I have to know, what was your favorite moment with Rob Reiner on/off set? My favorite scene is when he was telling Nick how to make a sandwich. Meat. My second was when he told Winston, draw me a map to the show. I love that one too. I quote that often at work. LOL. Appreciate y'all and the time and effort you guys put into this podcast. P.S. Lamorne, bro. I stand by Hannah on the bear thing.
Oh, Bryant.
Hey.
Bryant, you lost me.
I knew.
Bryant, you were my guy. You were my guy. You were my guy.
Bryant is the truth.
Bryant had your back on the bear. Bryant out here barebacking.
Bryant is the truth.
Bryant is out here barebacking.
Okay, so I will tell you my 3 favorite Rob Reiner moments. Number 1 was the first time, or maybe the second time we ever shot with him. It was a Thanksgiving episode, so I think it was the second time we shot with him. And he was sitting on the couch, and there must have been, I don't know, 30, 40 people sitting in the loft living room, sitting around him like school children in a classroom, like for circle time. They were all sitting there, crew, cast, producers, the director, everybody's there like children. And he was telling stories from The Princess Bride.
Oh, wow.
And everybody just sat there because he's the best storyteller. And he's just sharing everything. And there was nobody, because who's going to say, like, we got to shoot this episode?
Yeah.
Because it's like you're in masterclass. Like you're listening to the greatest director and actor share these things that you would wait your whole life to hear from it. Like, it was the most beautiful thing. And I just remember it was a moment where we recognized how lucky we are and how wonderful he is. And nobody moved. We all sat there for an hour. And it was only when he kind of came to the end of the story, we're like, okay, we'll just keep shooting, because nobody was going to say, because nobody wanted him to stop. Because you would never get this opportunity again. Yeah. And it was so powerful. And I don't remember that happening with anyone else, that kind of gathering, and then that person with that level of influence being so generous and just shooting the shit and talking about it with everybody. The second thing I remember is Jamie Lee Curtis and Rob Reiner are best friends. Rob Reiner married Jamie Lee Curtis and Christopher Guest in his backyard. Because Christopher Guest and Rob Reiner did Spinal Tap together. Yeah. Right. And so that's when she met her best friend, Rob Reiner. And I remember her telling me that the story of their friendship. And then I remember him walking on set and just watching her light up. And it was the most beautiful example of a true brother-sister, deeply loving, got a kick out of each other, knew each other's hidden secret languages, best friendship solidified through time and love and finding opportunities to like work together. And the way she shifted when he was around. And it's like from one of his movies, like When Harry Met Sally, like this idea of a female-male friendship and what it looks like when it's perfect. And that's what they had. And I find it really, like, I don't know, funny that this many years later, because I saw that dynamic between them and how comfortable she felt instantly and how it all just changed when they were together. And I feel like that's so much like our friendship. I feel like we're very rare. We actually have a male-female platonic friendship that is a brother-sister relationship. And like I was saying earlier,
except that one time you ripped my shirt up in public.
I didn't know.
It happened.
I do feel like it's that thing, though, where I've said, like, you know, I just said this, if I have to go to an event, can you please make sure you invite Lamorne, because I just know it feels safer and I'll have someone with me. And it's really a true thing. And the third thing I'll say about Rob Reiner is I remember the last time I saw him, it was a few years after New Girl had finished. I had gone to promote something else on KTLA, and I bumped into him in the hallway. I hadn't seen him in years. And I just bumped in, and you would have thought I was his favorite person on planet Earth. Like, he was like, "Oh my God, Hannah!" I was like, "Hi!" And he was in a rush off to somewhere you would have never known, because he makes all the time. And we chatted, and he was so lit up, and I was telling him about my personal life and things that had happened and all these beautiful, joyful things. And he was so happy for me, and he was giving me some advice on things. And we gave each other this huge, big hug. And I honestly thought I had a picture of it because it's so imprinted in my brain. That moment, I know what he was wearing, what I was wearing, and there's no picture that exists, but that's how strongly it printed into my brain that years after New Girl, how loving and happy and generous he was with his time and to see me. Anyway, those are my Rob Reiner memories.
Yeah, mine, I talked about it before because I'm really nervous around people, and I didn't want to crowd his space a lot. You know what I mean? Like, so I didn't have too much, we shared the screen a lot, but it was, we would just talk acting, we would talk, the scene and I was like, I get like nervous around folks, like especially people like him who I know, who they've changed cinema, and they've changed the thing that and they have sculpted the reason you want to be, in it. And so in trying to keep professional, you just act like you've been there before, and you don't approach it like a fan. And that's when I got that courage to call him Meathead in the scene, and it didn't go the way I thought. And I just remember that being a thing, and he was, I was like I want to say Jake. I don't know who was there, but somebody said pile of ashes. They called me like I got burned. Somebody
Pile of ashes.
Like I just got burned. Like I just got burned, and I was like, oh. But then we talked about it afterwards, and he told me, yeah, well, I guess you should have. That's a good point. Good point. Fair point. You never, this is your opportunity to say it, and you said it.
He loved people trying things. I think that's the other thing too. He delighted in it. That thing that someone's not jaded yet, or feels like they've seen it all, or makes you feel like that is so rare.
Yeah.
To be devoid of ego, to still delight in all of it.
Well, that's when you know that's when you know you're truly a creative. You never stop being creative.
Right.
The folks around you, they only spark more creativity in you, and so I think he found joy on our show, because everyone on our show is funny, and so he just liked. He just he probably felt comfortable and more alive doing a silly show like ours, because it just keeps the juices going.
Sure. It's a bunch of young people that were just so happy to be there. Yeah. And I think that is an infectious energy, because it was so authentic. None of us could believe that we were doing what we were doing. Yeah. And then you have these like lions in the room, these legends walking around.
Thank you.
And I do remember I do remember when he was on set and Jamie Lee Curtis was on set. It was funny because it is like having a lion in the room. Like everybody would be doing their thing, but not really. Everybody's watching them. Yeah. If they're talking to one person and like we're talking, I ain't listening to what you're saying. I'm trying to hear everything that they're saying. And it's like at those moments where you just are like, I can't, but you're so hyper present. Yeah. Because you're like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. And the fact that they just kept coming back to our show and became part of that universe and carved these incredible characters. Yeah. It's just, we are the absolute luckiest. I'm so grateful that we got to spend time with our beloved Rob Reiner, and we got to discuss how much we loved him personally and all the work that he has done and brought joy to this world today. And we got to talk about your episode. Again, I think something he would have just loved to know, that you sat and took the time to write about something important and to blend it with humor. Yeah. And you guys, thanks for listening to this episode. It's a big one. Yeah. An important one. 420. 420. Make sure you go out and you watch all of Rob Reiner's stuff. Go binge All in the Family. So it's good. Such a great. It's what I grew up on, and so yeah. Please go take a dive in, or watch Spinal Tap and think about 14-year-old Hannah living in India, thinking all of that is real. Yes. Or go watch 11 minutes of Coming to America. Archbishop's Cut. All you hear is Africa. Zamunda. That was it. Then there was a nice wedding and it was over. And I was like, that wasn't funny at all. We'll be back next week with episode 421. Pantygate. The Archbishop wouldn't allow that one. Be sure to follow us on IG and TikTok at The Mess Around Pod. You got questions, you got concerns, you got things you want to say. You got bear sightings. Oh, Jesus. The Mess Around Pod at gmail.com. You can also find us on Patreon. And if you become an annual subscriber, know that Lamorne and I will send you personal messages or a message to your friend, your family members, whatever you need. Again, neither of us are on Cameo, so this is your chance to get that message to surprise them, or one for yourself. So find us on Patreon, patreon.com/themessaroundpod. We love you. And we love you, Rob.
The Mess Around is a HeadGum podcast created and hosted by Hannah Simone and Lamorne Morris. The show is produced by Wendy Heisler and engineered by Sam Rogich, with production support from Kyle Chevron and Ali Khan. Our executive producer is Anya Kanovskaya. Katie Moose is our VP of Content at HeadGum. Our theme music is by Ronald Jukebox Jackson. For more podcasts by HeadGum, visit headgum.com or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.
That was a HeadGum podcast.